Now oil prices are increasing exponentially because of this war. All because Israel and the US wanted to bomb Iran for actually no reason. There was no actual reason for them to do that. And so now the price of oil is just skyrocketing. And it's surging, and it's literally just going up exponentially, the price of oil, which is something else that's annoying to me, because if the conflict is over oil, we need to actually start having a different discussion about other ways we can have energy. And the thing is, they're literally just hiding ways for us to create free energy. We don't need oil. I don't know how many decades we haven't been needing oil, but genuinely, I think the whole oil industry and all of that, and all of these that are manufactured because of oil, like all of that is simply because they literally just don't want to give out the free energy. Because then all of these places start to lose their profit. Like down to traveling. Oil industries would affect cars, would affect airplanes. So like if we found free energy, oil companies and these billionaires and trillionaires that make money off of oil, they would no longer be making that type of money off of oil, because we would have found a way to just take free energy from the world and then use that free energy rather than having to extract oil and then have all of these wars and conflicts over oil. You know what I mean? So realistically, all of these wars are manufactured and they're orchestrated to be this way that they are.
Iran is smarter than you think. Iran is attacking your wallet, causing the second fastest one-week spike in gas price history. Let's untangle this web of war. U.S. and Israel attack Iran, world's 8th largest oil producer. Iran seems to flail, firing missiles at random. But it's not random. It's a targeted attack on public sentiment for this war. They attack Saudi refineries, world's 2nd largest oil producer. Then Iraq, 6th largest. UAE, 8th largest. Kuwait, 10th largest. But that's not it. They close the Strait of Hormuz, the 20-mile wide choke point between Iran and Oman, where 20% of the world's oil flows. Iran's best defense against the superior opposition? Attack public sentiment for this war. Scorched earth to global oil supply. Gas prices are like billboards to U.S. consumers. They're attacking the U.S.'s sentiment for this war by hitting our wallets. Don't expect gas prices to come down quickly. Gas prices rise like rockets and fall like feathers.
Right, so this discussion is all about the oil prices going up. Oil or petroleum is important because it's the major source of fuel for humans. So oil is the most abundant energy resource, the energy we need to power factories, vehicles, as well as generate electricity. So factories produce our food, clothing, as well as tools that we use to carry out work. So when that fuel or when that source of fuel becomes expensive, which means it becomes hard to produce clothing, food, and it becomes hard for vehicles to maneuver. And that's the reason why we have Elon Musk trying to give us electric cars.
While many Americans are struggling with the cost of gas right now, Donald Trump is openly celebrating it. In a new post on Truth Social, he says the increase in oil prices is making the U.S. a lot of money. Take a look. He says the United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far, so when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money. But of far greater interest and importance to me as president is stopping an evil empire, Iran, from having nuclear weapons and destroying the Middle East and indeed the world. I would never let that happen. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but many top oil and gas executives are major donors to Donald Trump's political operations. The fossil fuel industry has spent hundreds of millions of dollars or more to influence the government, with a significant portion going directly to Trump-aligned committees. These are the people who are actually benefiting from the increase in oil prices, along with their shareholders, while the average American gets crushed paying higher gas prices. Families across the country are now paying more just to drive to work, take their kids to school, or go to buy groceries, but Donald Trump and the billionaires are happy because they get to make more money.
Therefore, this tension is not only affecting the countries involved, it's also affecting everybody globally, as much as some people might be ignorant about the implications of this conflict. My question is, are there any alternatives to oil as being the major source of energy? Actually, there is. Nikola Tesla. So Nikola Tesla is this innovator that existed in the 1800s. And about his time, when he was around, there were a lot of innovations to do with free energy. And I guess the elites didn't like that. And that is the reason why we haven't seen Nikola Tesla's inventions. But There are rumors that they are actually there, but they were just seized or confiscated right before his passing.
Iran does not set the price of your oil. Iran doesn't set the price of oil for anyone except for China, because China is the only country that is allowed to buy oil from Iran. So we don't buy oil from Iran. The US doesn't buy oil from Iran. No country that you know of is allowed to buy Iran's oil, even though Iran has so much of it. The US doesn't want Iran to have buyers. It does not want Iran to be able to sell its oil, to make money off its oil, even though it has oil. And the reason for that is not because the US doesn't want the world to have oil, it's because it wants to deny Iran of all its buyers so that Iran is forced to make an agreement with the US so that the US can also profit off the oil industry that actually belongs to Iran. This is in its 13th year. In the last 5 years, Iran has managed to still make money by selling its oil to China.
Why is the US war against Iran making Americans pay higher prices at the gas station? You might think it's because the US buys most of its oil from the Middle East, but not really. Look at this graph for 2024. You see that the US buys most of its oil from the Western Hemisphere, with Canada as the main source. So why are the US tax on Iran causing higher gas prices for Americans? Two main causes. First, oil is a global commodity. Think of it like wheat or gold. Once it hits the world market, it gets one global price. Now imagine 20% of the world's oil supply suddenly stops flowing. That's what happened with the closing of the Strait of Hormuz. Less supply, prices go up. Everywhere, whether Tokyo, London, Beijing, or your local gas station. So the second cause might make you more angry. Oil companies maximize their profits, specifically the ones pulling oil from Canada or the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America if you want to call it like that. These companies don't keep their prices low just because their oil came from your backyard. They sell it at world market prices too. So while you're paying more at the pump, American oil companies are having record profits. Some of those companies don't need Middle East oil to benefit from Middle East chaos. But what do you think? Will those rising prices actually push the US to stop the war against Iran?
You know how long it takes to get oil out of the ground, process it multiple times depending on what you want out of it, and then shipping it around the world? You know how long that takes? A lot longer than in the Middle East, and the next day the gas prices are more money. It costs more. You see what I'm saying? Like the gas that's already in the station or on the way to the station or even in the country at the time was already like bought and acquired before any conflict happened in the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? So it's like this immediate thing. You can imagine then why being an oil monopoly is quite favorable. You can flip the switch just like that, monopolize the price.
Those are some of the videos that we had for you. So I just want to tell you that this has not only affected people's lives in terms of what they wear or what they eat, but it's affected the economy as well as the economic infrastructures all over the world, not just in the land of the free. So as far as Iran is concerned, people do think that Iran is just using this as some sort of card that they're using maybe to just gain an advantage over time. But the other perspective that we heard could suggest that there may be major players here that might be benefiting from it. Maybe large corporations, maybe people that just want to use the oil prices going up to their advantage. But with all that being said, this video is for educational purposes only, and we also encourage you to just leave your own thoughts down in the comment section and let us know what you think could be going on with the prices of oil going up. And talking about alternatives to energy, what are some of the alternatives that you know? I know some people would suggest solar. Like that's the reason why I guess we have electric cars. I think Elon Musk and some other companies out there might be looking at making electric cars that might be powered by the sun. And when it comes to innovators that we've heard of in history, like perhaps Tesla, Nikola Tesla, these are people that were working on free energy. And there are suggestions or claims or people that think that he actually did manage to create free energy devices that would be used by households, but people were saying they were unstable. But there are also people that think that it's just the people up there, the major corporations, that see free energy as not a good way of making a profit. Because if energy is free and there's no measurement or there's no tax attached to it, then how do they make money in turn? With that being said, leave your own thoughts in the comments. Let us know what you think. We'll see you on the next one.